What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason and Joe here. Album of the Week, the series where we review albums submitted by our patrons. Today, we've got a record submitted to us by someone that our viewers should be pretty familiar with. Anyone who has watched Joe's Bob Dylan series, Discovering Dylan. This one's from his co-host, Dylan Sevey. And he has chosen a jazz record for us, something we haven't done yet in this series. We had a couple hip hop, and now we're flipping it over to jazz. Cookin' by the Miles Davis Quintet from 1957. Miles Davis, Paul Chambers, John Coltrane, Red Garland, and Philly Joe Jones make up the quintet. I don't know. I think there's a feeling that this is pushing us out of our comfort zone too, in the way that the hip hop selections were, and I would say much less so. Maybe out of my comfort zone as far as talking about it. But this particular style of jazz is kind of the style I gravitate towards. When I do listen to jazz, this is the kind of stuff I go for. And so I don't know a ton of it. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but this was by no means like a difficult listen for myself. I don't know about for you.
No, this is definitely not. I mean, this isn't like Bitches Brew or something great, even like In a Silent Way or like a Coltrane. Everyone bags on us because we don't quite get Coltrane when he's, doing his crazy modal stuff. This is much, much, much easier to get. I mean, I'm like you, I don't know how to talk about jazz because we never do. And once again, our patrons are punishing us with some of these picks. But this one isn't quite as bad, at least for you and for me. Uh, I'm totally fine with this kind of jazz. I like this. I like all the playing. I like that it starts off with a standard that really kind of helps ease you into the whole thing. My Funny Valentine by Rogers of Rogers and Hammerstein fame. And it's a really pretty melodic song. It's very smooth. It's very unhurried. Davis has some really tasteful, pretty, even trumpet solos, which are nice. Um, I don't know, we've been talking about jazz in the Discord and stuff, so I've been listening to more and trying to branch out a little bit. I don't know if I've heard too many like pretty trumpet solos from the later work from Miles Davis, but all the stuff in My Funny Valentine is just melodic and nice and just that's the kind of jazz that I like. As soon as you get into the post bebop, modal, free jazz kind of stuff, then I glaze over. I don't dig it. I don't dig the noodly and the squawking and stuff. But I think right here in 1957, it's a little predating all that crazy stuff. It's I don't know even know what you'd call it if it's just bebop, but it's not hard to listen to. I really like Red Garland's piano work on this album, especially on My Funny Valentine. Just, it provides like this welcome relief, maybe even from the trumpets and later on with Coltrane on the sax. Like it's just a very like grounding, pretty instrument. He has a couple solos, he gets his stuff in there. The bass work, double bass from Paul Chambers, pretty unfussy on My Funny Valentine. Like he has some cool parts. He gets his, but he's mostly advancing the song there. No Coltrane on the first track. He shows up on Blues by Five, which is a Miles Davis original. And this is probably my least favorite track on the album. It's a little more kind of just like squawking and noodly, and I don't really understand it, what's going on. And I don't love it. It's cool. Um, but it's just like too heavy on that side of that. Like I'm just gonna take a solo, you take a solo, I'm a solo. Just I don't know what it's trying to tell me. It just doesn't work. Great bass work though. And then on side two, you get Aragon from Sonny Rollins, and up the tempo. I think it works a lot better here. It's still a little bit of that squawky kind of noodly trumpet and saxophone solos that I don't quite love. You know, I like the more tasteful, slow stuff, but just the virtuosity of everyone playing on this is just really, really friggin' impressive. Um, some awesome bass work um, from Paul Chambers on this. He's just all over the place. He's cooking. Piano is real nice. It provides like this hook between him and Chambers that kind of comes back to, which is cool. And Coltrane and Davis are just kind of bouncing and dancing around it. And Tune Up, another good one, another faster tempo. And I think I like the speed. I can concentrate on the bass and the drums, and it kind of grounds everything for me. And it slows down at the end, which is cool, kind of a groove to end the record. Some real nice piano again from Mr. Red Garland. And honestly, I know it's a Miles Davis record, but it's a quintet. And Red Garland, Paul Chambers, the MVPs in my book. I like what Davis and Coltrane are doing. I don't quite understand it that much. I can't really talk about like the choices they make. I know a lot of it's improv, and they're kind of, playing off each other. And obviously they're incredible players. It's like God level, instrumentalists here. And the way that they're playing off and improvising, that telekinetic, telepathic connection that they all have. It's almost unfathomable by someone like myself, and I'm sure most of the common people listening to it, if you're not big into jazz. So it's hard to even kind of put into words like what Davis and Coltrane are doing here, but for the most part, it sounds really cool. The band's cooking, the band is hot, and it's very much the jazz that I can relate to and listen to and never once be like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I listening to this? I might not totally understand it, but I definitely like it. And it's a high 4 stars for me.
All right. Yeah. Well, first of all, I love the cover. It was designed by Reed Miles, who did so many of the great Blue Note jazz record layouts and designs. Um, so that's the first thing. Second thing, I think My Funny Valentine is a funny choice of opener for an album called Cookin', because it is very not cooking, but it's great. It's my favorite track on the record, um, by a pretty wide margin. I think this is a 5-star track for me. I think it is fantastic. I love Miles's playing on this, very lyrical, and I want the same thing in my jazz that I like in my other music that I listen to, pop, rock. I like I like to hear chord changes. I like to hear what the melody does over top of it. And this is a great melody, tried and true, classic, standard, and the way he plays it though, it's he injects it with so much of his own personality and his own phrasing and all of that kind of stuff, and I think it's excellent. And that's not to say that I don't appreciate improvisation, but I want the improvisation to be an expression of, the person. I want it to be almost lyrical. I want to hear a melody. I want you to put some hooks and like motifs and work in some things that I can latch onto rather than just flying through notes. The same way that I wouldn't be that interested in like a shred guitar player just improvising for minutes at a time. So, and I think this does all of that. All of the players here are great. Then you move on to some of the other tracks, and it's not that I don't like them. I think the rest of the record is like probably at least 4 stars. Probably right around there. I'd say the other 3 tracks are probably like 4 stars. Well, My Funny Valentine's 5. It loses a little of the melodicism, I think, the other tracks. Although I do really enjoy listening to the interplay between musicians, as you pointed out. I think that's kind of what's really the highlight of the rest of the record after My Funny Valentine is the way that they're just so in tune with one another, and not only just like trading solos, but like dancing around each other. And it's kind of like all happening all the time. And Yeah, the playing's great. I don't really have like huge criticisms or faults with them. I think they're really enjoyable to listen to still. I considered 4.5 since I've got three fours and a five, but I think I'm staying at a high four where you are as well. Really good. Another ballad, maybe. I had two ballads and two Cookin tracks. I might get up to 4.5. I love Miles Davis has a compilation. I think it's called Ballads. It's just like a bunch of his ballads that I used to put on when I was like going to sleep at night, and I love that. So that's my sweet spot. And this record gives me some of it, but could have used just a little bit more. But it's fantastic players, fantastic playing. Yeah,
Yeah, I think for 1957, it's probably up there as far as my favorite albums that I've ever heard. I don't really know what came out in 1957 other than a bunch of jazz stuff. So I don't think we're going to do a 57 deep dive anytime soon. But I think I can say right now, this is my favorite album of 1957. And, a high four in 57 is like a 5 star in most other years, probably.
yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah, I don't know what else would even be around Elvis.
Uh, I have like 3 albums even written down for the year. Nat King Cole, Billie Holiday, A Blossom Dearie. Birth of the Cool came out in 57, but it was recorded earlier.
I want to look and see for our community chart in 57. Here's Little Richard is number one. Round About Midnight by Miles Davis is number two. The Chirping Crickets, The Clown by Charles Mingus, Brilliant Corners by Thelonious Monk, and Cookin' with Miles Davis Quintet is number six. Some other jazz stuff. We got Billie Holiday, Johnny Cash,
Okay,
West,
some stuff. There's a couple
yeah,
good stuff.
West Side Story, Gene Vincent and the Blue Caps, Coleman Hawkins, Patsy Cline, self-titled.
Okay.
But yeah, this is in the mix of the top top tier 1957 releases for sure. All right. Let us know what you think of this record and what you think of 1957. Drop it in the comments, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and check the link in the description. Head over to our Patreon if you're interested in supporting us further and possibly getting us to review a record of your choice on the channel someday. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.